Life doesn't always scream at you to wake up. Sometimes it whispers quietly, persistently, until you feel a shift one day, a thought, a question, something inside you asks, is this really how I want to live? If you're here reading these words, maybe that whisper just got louder. Maybe you've been going through the motions for far too long. Same routine, the same distractions, the same excuses. You're not unhappy, but you're not truly alive either. And deep down, you know it. This is not about motivation for the sake of hype. This is about facing a hard truth. Time is moving, and so far, you've only touched the surface of your potential. You're not broken, but you are stuck. You're not failing, but you're not building. You're not lost, but you haven't truly started searching either. What if today is the line in the sand? The moment you stop waiting for clarity and start acting with courage? What if everything you've ever wanted is waiting on the other side of discomfort, discipline, and decisions you've been too afraid to make? This story isn't about being perfect. It's about waking up. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, your focus, and rewriting the script. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. So I ask you, are you living or just existing? Because what follows here is not just advice, it's a mirror. Each chapter, each idea is an invitation to challenge the part of you that has settled. And it all starts with the courage to read these words with an open heart and say, enough is enough. You want more. You were made for more. And it begins here. Lesson 1, time is your life. Don't kill it. Let's start with the simplest but hardest truth to swallow. Time is not just something you spend. It's something you are. Every second that slips through your fingers is a piece of your life you never get back. And if you're killing time, what you're really doing is slowly killing your future. We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow, as if time were an infinite luxury. But time doesn't wait for readiness. It doesn't pause for procrastination. It doesn't care that you're tired, scared, or confused. It just ticks quietly, consistently, and irreversibly. Every hour wasted scrolling, every morning slept through, every moment spent on things that don't matter. That's not just wasted time. That's the opportunity slipping away. That's your dream delayed. That's your power scattered across meaningless distractions. You don't feel the damage immediately. That's the trap. The pain of wasted time is silent but cumulative. And one day you'll wake up, older, worn down, staring into the mirror, asking, where did it all go? But it doesn't have to end that way. The first step, respect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Treat every hour like a currency you can never earn back. Schedule your day like your life depends on it, because it does. Pick one thing every morning that will push your life forward and give it your full attention. Reclaim 1 hour a day from distractions and reinvest it into reading, learning, creating, or healing. You might not see the change overnight, but compound that intentional time daily, and in a month, you'll feel momentum. In a year, you won't recognize your old life. Time is either your greatest ally or your silent assassin. The choice is yours. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. So ask yourself, what did I do yesterday that built my future? What will I do today that honors my potential? And what excuses am I still letting steal my tomorrow? Because here's the truth you need to hear. You're not just killing time. Time is killing you. Lesson 2, stop blaming, start building. It's easy to point fingers. Easy to say I didn't get the right support or no one showed me how. For a while, that story might even bring you comfort, because if it's someone else's fault, it means you don't have to take responsibility. But first, here's the truth you already know deep down. No one is coming to build your life for you. Your parents, they had their own struggles. Your teachers, maybe they cared, maybe they didn't. Your government, your friends, your boss, none of them owe you the future you want. And even if they wanted to help, they couldn't do it for you, because your life is not theirs to build. It's yours. The longer you blame, the longer you wait. And the longer you wait, the more your potential withers in silence. Excuses might feel valid at the moment, but they are thieves. They steal your time, your ownership, your growth. You say you didn't go to a good school. Okay, so now what? You say your family didn't support you. That hurts. But now, what? You say you don't have time, money, connections, confidence, all valid feelings. But again, now what? You get to decide, are your limitations going to define your story or spark your comeback? It's some of the world's most powerful people started with absolutely nothing. No mentors, no money, no map. What they had was hunger, a spark, a stubborn refusal to stay stuck. And they decided, I don't care what I didn't get, I will build something anyway. This mindset is the game changer. When you stop waiting for a better hand to start playing the cards you were dealt like a master, everything shifts. You go from powerless to powerful, from victim to creator. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's hard, but building your life piece by piece, brick by brick is one of the most empowering things you'll ever do. Start by getting real. Write down the things you feel are holding you back. Be brutally honest. Then, next to each one, write one action you can take today to move forward anyway. Not a perfect solution, a first step. You don't need to have all the tools right now. What you need is the decision to stop pointing outward and start looking inward. The moment you say, I'm responsible for my life, is the moment you take your power back. Repeat this to yourself every morning. I am not a victim, I am a builder. Because the truth is, your life is being built either way. The question is, will you be the architect or just a bystander? Lesson 3, comfort is a cage, escape it. But let's be honest, comfort feels good. Waking up late, checking your phone first thing, watching videos, scrolling endlessly, maybe doing a little work before calling it a day. It feels easy, familiar, safe, but there's a cost, and it's higher than you think. Comfort is not your friend. It's a quiet, invisible cage. The problem with comfort is that it doesn't hurt, at least not immediately. It lulls you into a false sense of security. It whispers, you're okay, you've earned this, just take it easy. And while you're relaxing, your dreams are slowly dying. Your potential is fading into the background. The fire inside you, it's turning to ash. Here's the truth, growth never lives in the comfort zone. Nothing truly great, no masterpiece, no breakthrough, no transformation has ever come from playing it safe. Do you want to speak fluent English? You have to open your mouth and make mistakes. You want to launch a business? You have to face the fear of failure. You want to change your life? You have to be willing to feel uncomfortable again and again. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they lack ability. It's because they avoid discomfort. They'd rather feel temporarily okay than risk feeling temporarily foolish. But here's the irony. Avoiding pain now creates a lifetime of regret later. Short-term comfort leads to long-term mediocrity. And what do? Start breaking the pattern every single day. Do something that stretches you, even if just a little. Speak up in that meeting. Join that online class. Record that video. Apply for that opportunity. Show up to that workout. Discomfort's not your enemy, it's your compass. It points you toward the places where growth is hiding. And yes, you'll stumble, you'll mess up, you'll feel awkward. That's good. It means you're evolving. Think of it like a seed underground. To become a tree, it has to crack open, push through the soil, struggle toward the light. Do the same. The comfort zone is where potential goes to sleep. The discomfort zone is where it wakes up and turns into something real. So from now on, stop asking what's easy. Start asking what's worth it. Because when you leave your comfort zone behind, you don't just grow, you become unstoppable. Lesson 4, I'll do it later is the most dangerous lie. We've all said it, I'll do it later. It sounds innocent, even reasonable. You tell yourself you just need a bit more time, a better mood, and the right moment. But what if I told you that this tiny phrase is quietly robbing you of your dreams? Later is the mask that laziness wears. It's the disguise of fear. It's the excuse we whisper to ourselves to stay safe. But here's what later really means, never. Because every time you say, not now, you're strengthening the part of you that avoids growth. Let's break this down. You say you want to improve your English. I'll start next week, you say, but next week turns into next month. The book stays unopened. The words were unsaid. You wanted to start a fitness routine, a side hustle, a blog, a project. But every time it got a little hard, a little uncomfortable, you postponed it. And then life happens. Days blur together, time slips through the cracks. And one day you wake up and realize you spent years living on pause. Here's the truth. If you can't start now, you likely never will. Why? Because the longer you delay, the more powerful procrastination becomes. It trains your brain to associate growth with avoidance. Your dreams become distant, foggy, almost fictional. But what if you broke that pattern? What if instead of waiting, you acted? Even if it wasn't perfect, even if it was messy, even if it was small, there is power. And in the beginning, in momentum, in saying, I'm not ready, but I'm moving anyway. Try this. Pick one thing you've been putting off. Set a 10-minute timer. Start it. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for started. Because once you begin, something shifts. The hardest part is always that first step. Remember, nobody sends a reminder when your time is up. Life just moves on. The pain of failure is real, but the pain of regret is worse. Regret whispers, you could have been so much more. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for confidence. Just begin. Because every time you choose now instead of later, you reclaim control. And in that simple choice lies the beginning of everything you've ever wanted. Now, lesson 5, stop thinking, start doing. Your thoughts can be powerful allies or ruthless enemies. For many people, the problem isn't a lack of intelligence or passion. The problem is overthinking. You want to make a change, but your mind convinces you to wait. You want to try it, but your thoughts spiral into worst-case scenarios. You analyze, plan, prepare, and never act. Thinking without action is just mental quicksand. You think about learning a new language, but you never practice it out loud. You'd imagine starting a side business, but months pass with nothing but notes in a journal. You tell yourself you'll go to the gym, but you spend more time researching workouts than actually moving. Your brain means well. It wants to protect you from pain, embarrassment, or failure, but in doing so, it builds a padded cell of hesitation and calls it safety. But here's the truth. Success doesn't come from perfect plans. It comes from imperfect actions. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the first one. Action creates clarity. The motion builds momentum. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you earn by doing. Let's say you want to become fluent in English. You've watched hundreds of videos. You've taken notes, maybe even bought a few books. But when was the last time you spoke, wrote, listened with full attention? It's not the learning that's missing. It's the doing. Imagine someone who wants to learn how to swim. They read books, watch YouTube tutorials, ask expert advice, but never step into the water. Will they ever truly learn? Of course not. You learn by doing. You grow by trying. You move forward by acting. So here's your challenge. Act before you're ready. Speak before you're fluent. Try before you're confident. Move before you feel motivated. Start small, but start now. 10 minutes of messy effort is worth more than 10 hours of flawless theory. You don't need more information. You need transformation. And that begins the moment you stop thinking and start doing. Lesson 6, be that person. Every group has one. Every family, every circle of friends, every team. There's always that one person who breaks the mold. The one who rises early, who works harder, who dares to dream bigger and refuses to quit. The one who shifts the energy of everyone around them. Be that person. Not the one who always complains, not the one who makes excuses, not the one who talks big and does little. Be the one who backs up vision with action. The one who doesn't need validation to move forward. You don't need everyone to believe in you. It's okay if they laugh. It's okay if they don't understand. They're not supposed to, because you're here to do what they want. Be the person who studies while others party, who creates while others consume, who speaks up when others stay quiet, who keeps going when everyone else stops. You don't need to announce it. Let your work speak. Let your transformation be your proof. While others explain their intentions, you'll be showing results. You'll have moments of doubt, days when you want to quit, but push through them. Remember, most people aren't failing, they're just stopping too soon. And when your old friends or doubters say, "You've changed," look them in the eye and say, "Yes, I have." Because you're not here to stay the same. You're here to evolve. So wake up with purpose, move with discipline, speak with conviction, carry yourself like someone who knows where they're going, even if no one else sees it yet. Be the story people tell later. Be the one who made it happen. Be that person. Lesson 7. The real battle is you versus you. It's easy to believe that the greatest obstacles in your life are out there. Your boss, your past, the economy, your lack of support, or that one person who doubted you. But the truth, the biggest battle you'll ever fight is the one happening inside your own mind. It's not you versus them, it's you versus you. There's a version of you that wants to grow, to wake up early, to push harder, to improve your skills, to believe in bigger things. That part of you is disciplined, brave, focused, and full of fire. But there's also another version, the one that says, let's sleep in. Let's skip the workout. Let's try tomorrow. It's the part that's afraid of judgment, failure, and discomfort. That version is lazy, reactive, and full of doubt. These two versions of you are in a constant tug of war, and every choice you make feeds one and weakens the other. The dangerous part, the weak version doesn't shout, it whispers. It convinces you that it's okay to take shortcuts, that comfort matters more than consistency, that scrolling is harmless, that failure is final. But here's the truth. Every time you choose the easy way, you reinforce a weaker identity. Every time you take action, despite discomfort, you step into your stronger self. This is not about being perfect. You will have days where you fall, but it's about noticing who is winning the small daily decisions, because those choices shape your future. Think of it like feeding two wolves. One is powerful, hungry for growth, and courageous. The other is passive, scared, and self-pity. Which one gets stronger? The one you feed. You don't win this war once, you win it daily. Every time you show up when it's hard, every time you finish what you start, every time you keep going, despite the noise in your head telling you to stop, that's a win. So track your small victories, celebrate when you resist the urge to quit, write it down when you choose discipline over distraction. These are not small moments. They are your transformation in progress. Because one day you will look back and realize it wasn't one big breakthrough that changed your life. It was 1,000 tiny choices where the strongest version of you said, not today. I'm in charge now. This is the war, and the battleground is your mind. The enemy, the lesser version of yourself. You want a different life? Win the next decision. You want a new future? Win the next hour. You want to meet your potential? Win against the old you. Over and over again until that's just who you are. Lesson 8, willpower over feelings. There's a dangerous myth that has quietly made its way into modern thinking, the idea that you should only act when you feel like it, that your motivation has to be high, that your emotions should align before you move. But here's the truth that successful people live by. Your feelings don't get to decide your future, your willpower does. You're not always going to feel like studying, like exercising, like creating, like pushing through a hard day. And if you let those fleeting moods dictate your actions, your life will always be a reflection of your lowest moments. Real growth begins the moment you do what's necessary, even when you don't feel like it. Think about it. The athlete who trains in the rain, the writer who writes through a creative block, the student who studies while tired, the entrepreneur who keeps building despite the doubt. These are not people who are always motivated. They are people who are disciplined. Motivation is emotional. Willpower is intentional. Motivation fades. Willpower remains. The strongest version of you will not be born in moments of excitement, but in the quiet hours when no one is watching and you choose to keep going. Willpower means keeping the promises you've made to yourself. It means doing what you said you'd do after the feeling that made you say it has gone. Start building your willpower like a muscle. Do small things daily that stretch you. Finish tasks, even if you're tired. Sit down and write, even when you're uninspired. Show up when your body says to stay in bed. And when you do, something powerful happens. Your identity begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries, you become someone who does. The truth is that most people let their moods define their habits. But high achievers do the opposite. They let their habits define their moods. So next time your mind says, not today, reply with, that's exactly why I'm doing it. You are not a slave to your emotions. You are the architect of your actions. And every action you take in defiance of laziness is another brick in the foundation of the life you're building. Train your willpower, trust it, live by it, because your feelings may lie to you, but your discipline never will. Lesson 9, stop comparing, start becoming. One of the quickest ways to destroy your peace and kill your potential is to compare your journey to someone else's. And, in today's hyper-connected world, comparison is everywhere. We carry it in our pockets, scroll it in our feeds, and soak in highlight reels that leave us questioning our worth. But here's what most people forget. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's best moments. You see the success, but not the sleepless nights. You see the fitness, but not the pain behind the progress. You see the perfect photo, not the 100 deleted attempts. Comparison is a trap. It doesn't motivate. It paralyzes. It whispers, you're not good enough. You'll never catch up. They're better than you. And if you listen to that voice long enough, you'll begin to shrink. You'll doubt your pace, your process, and your potential. You'll stop celebrating your growth because it doesn't look like theirs. But your path is yours for a reason. Your pace, your lessons, your timing. No one else can walk it, and no one else should define it. You are not in competition with their success. You are in competition with your yesterday. So instead of comparing, start becoming. Shift your focus from what others are doing to who you are becoming. Use their success as inspiration, not evidence of your lack. Take inventory of your own wins, no matter how small. Track your progress, honor your discipline, respect your evolution. If you need to compare your current self to your past self. Are you stronger, smarter, braver, more consistent? That's the real scoreboard. And if you're not where you want to be yet, that's okay. You're not behind, you're just building. Remember, the oak tree and the sunflower grow at different speeds, but both reach the light in their own way. You are not here to be them. You are here to be the most powerful version of you. Comparison kills joy. Progress fuels it. So unfollow what makes you feel small. Surround yourself with what sparks belief. And when you look in the mirror, stop asking, why am I not like them? Start asking, how can I become more of me? Lesson 10, choose your teachers wisely. Advice is everywhere. Everyone has an opinion. Friends, family, strangers on the internet. And while most of it is well-meaning, not all of it is helpful. In fact, some advice can send you 10 steps backward if you're not careful about who you listen to. Here's a truth most people ignore. Not everyone is qualified to guide you. Would you take financial advice from someone drowning in debt? Would you ask someone how to speak English fluently if they're afraid to say a single sentence? Would you ask someone how to chase your dream if they gave up on theirs years ago? Too many people follow opinions instead of experience. They take feedback from those who've never done the work and let that shape their confidence, their decisions, even their destiny. This world is full of voices. Some build, some break. Your job is to filter. Your job is to protect your mind like a garden. Only plant seeds from people who've grown real trees. Here's how to know if someone is worth listening to. Have they done what you're trying to do? Do they live in alignment with the advice they give? Does their life reflect wisdom or just noise? And if the answer is no, thank them and move on. You don't owe anyone the power to shape your future. Seek mentors, not critics. Seek wisdom, not volume. Learn from those who've walked the path, scraped their knees, failed forward, and still chose to rise. Those are the people who speak not from ego, but from experience. And never forget, your own intuition matters too. The more you build, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the more you realize that not everyone needs to understand your vision because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. So protect your energy, be mindful of influence, and remember, your future is being shaped by the voices you allow into your mind. Choose them wisely. Lesson 11, pick yourself. There's a moment in everyone's life where you have to make a choice. Will you wait for someone to discover you, approve of you, select you, or will you stand up and pick yourself? Too many people are waiting for a call that never comes, waiting for a promotion, waiting for recognition, waiting for someone to give them permission to live fully, love deeply, and create boldly. But here's the hard truth. The world isn't obligated to notice your potential. You could be wildly talented, deeply passionate, full of ideas, but none of that matters if you're still waiting to be chosen. Waiting. Pick yourself. Start the business before someone finds you. Write the book before you get a publisher. Record the video before you feel ready. Launch the project before you're confident. Become the person you want to be, not when someone tells you you can, but because you've decided you must. The most powerful people in the world weren't handed opportunities. They created them. They built something so undeniable that eventually the world had no choice but to notice. Think about the artists who painted in garages, the entrepreneurs who started with nothing, the speakers who had to speak to empty rooms before arenas. The authors were rejected a dozen times. They didn't wait. They moved. They picked themselves. And when you do the same, something shifts. You're no longer just a participant in life. You become a creator, a leader, someone who shapes their own path, regardless of who's watching. So here's your challenge. Every time you hesitate, every time you think, but what if no one believes in me? Answer it with this: I believe in me. And that's enough to begin. Stop asking for permission. The door was never locked. You've always had the key. Pick yourself and don't look back. Lesson 12, no risk, no story. Everyone wants a powerful story, a journey worth telling, a life that inspires, but few are willing to pay the price that greatness demands. Risk. You want freedom, you have to risk security. You want to be extraordinary, you have to risk being misunderstood. You want to build something great, you have to risk failing hard in front of people who might laugh. But here's the reality. You will never create a legendary life by staying comfortable. The people you admire, the entrepreneurs, the creators, the leaders, the legends, they all had to leap before they felt ready. They stepped into the unknown. They gambled on themselves. And you'll never know what you're truly capable of if you only ever choose what's safe. Starting a business, moving to a new place, speaking up, showing up, being vulnerable, these things come with fear. But fear isn't a sign to stop. It's a signal that something meaningful is on the line. Your comfort zone is designed to keep you alive, not fulfilled. Playing it safe may keep you from pain, but it will also keep you from purpose. So ask yourself, what story are you writing right now? Is it one of bold decisions or careful hesitation? Are you building a future worth remembering or just surviving another day? No one will ever look back and say, I'm glad I played it safe. The stories that last, the ones that move hearts and change lives, are born from risk. Don't fear failure, fear regret. Fear looking back and realizing you let your life become a quiet echo when it could have been a roaring anthem. Here's the truth. You won't always win, but every time you choose courage over comfort, you grow. Every time you leap, you learn. Every time you dare, you deepen. And in the end, you won't just have results, you'll have a story. So go, take the risk, be brave, write something worth reading with your life. Lesson 13, the clock is ticking. There's a voice that rarely shouts but always speaks the truth. Doesn't beg for attention, yet it rules everything you do. That voice is time. It's telling you this. You don't have as much of it as you think. We postpone, we delay, we convince ourselves there's still room for someday. But someday isn't a date on the calendar. It's a lie we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of now. Here's the brutal truth. You are not guaranteed more time. You're not promised another year, another month, another moment. Life doesn't send warnings before it changes everything. And when you finally realize how much time you've wasted, it hits you like a punch to the gut. So why do we act like we have forever? We spend hours on our phones, but say we have no time to grow. We wait for the perfect moment to begin, ignoring the imperfect moment in front of us. The one time doesn't stop because you're tired. It doesn't pause because you're scared. It moves with or without you. You say you'll write the book, start the business, fix your health, learn the skill, deepen your relationships, but not today, right? Here's the problem. If not today, when? And what makes you think tomorrow will offer more clarity, more energy, or more courage than right now? The clock is ticking. And it's not your enemy, it's your reminder. A reminder that the opportunity to change your life is not in the future, it's in this breath, this choice, this step. So move, not because time is running out, but because it's already running. And if you don't use it, you lose it. In this moment, it's yours. Use it before it disappears. Lesson 14, nobody cares, and that's a gift. This might sting a little, but it needs to be said. Nobody cares as much as you think they do. Not about your excuses, not about your plans, not about your dreams. Most people are too busy dealing with their own lives to worry about yours. And while that might sound harsh, it's actually one of the most freeing truths you can realize. Because if nobody is watching you as closely as you feared, then guess what? You're free to take risk, free to mess up, free to grow without fear of judgment. We often hesitate because we think everyone is paying attention, waiting to criticize, waiting to laugh if we fail. But the truth? Most people won't even notice. So why are you letting invisible opinions hold you back? You want to start speaking English publicly? Do it. Most people are too caught up in their own insecurities to judge yours. You want to build something online? Create it. The few who might mock you, they're not building anything. They're spectators, background noise. And those who do care, the ones who cheer for you, support you, and celebrate your effort, they'll love you even more for being brave enough to try. You don't need applause to act. You don't need permission to begin. And you definitely don't need to explain yourself to people who don't live your life. Here's the shift. Stop performing. Start progressing. Every time you show up for yourself without needing validation, you take back your power. And every time you act in spite of judgment, you grow thicker skin and a stronger spirit. Your journey is yours. Make it messy. Make it bold. Make it yours. Because once you realize that nobody really cares, you'll stop fearing their opinions and start living your truth. Isn't that? That's when life gets real. Lesson 15. Why not now? And how many times have you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow? How many great ideas have you buried under the weight of hesitation? And how many days have slipped by? Days you'll never get back. Because you kept telling yourself the same old lie, I'll do it later. The future feels safe. Planning feels productive. But real transformation, it doesn't live in someday. It lives in now. There is no perfect moment. No magical alignment of time, energy, and confidence that suddenly makes it easier. There's just now. The longer you wait, the heavier your excuses become. Waiting gives fear more time to grow. Waiting lets self-doubt take root. Waiting trains your brain to delay, delay, delay. But again, even the smallest step forward breaks the cycle. You don't need a full plan, you need to begin. You don't need full belief, you need to move anyway. You don't need to be ready, you need to show up regardless. What would happen if you made now your default setting? If instead of postponing growth, you pursued it? If instead of watching others move ahead, you stepped into your moment? There's a version of you waiting on the other side of the action. More focused, more confident, more fulfilled, but you won't meet them by sitting still. You meet them by choosing now. So write the first page, send the first message, start the first workout, record the first video, launch the first idea, speak the first sentence. Not later, not next week, not after the fear goes away. Now, lesson 16, don't like your life? Build a new one. If you look around and feel disconnected from the life you're living, it's time to stop pretending everything's okay. It's not. You're not broken, but maybe the life you've built around you doesn't match who you really are. You wake up tired, not just physically, but spiritually. You go through your day with a numbness you can't explain. You scroll endlessly. You smile politely. You say, I'm fine more than you should, but inside something is screaming for change. Here's the truth you need to hear. You are not stuck. You're just scared. You don't need permission to start over. You don't need to hit rock bottom to rebuild. You just need to stop waiting and start creating. Change doesn't have to be dramatic. It can start small, rearranging your space to feel more alive. Surround yourself with voices that inspire. Saying no to one thing that drains your energy. Saying yes to one thing that scares you in a good way. You're the architect. You hold the pen. You can rewrite the story. Start by asking yourself, if I could rebuild from scratch, what would I keep? What would I let go? What would I finally give myself permission to chase? You don't have to stay in the job, relationship, mindset, or environment that's quietly killing your joy. Your old life doesn't get to hold your future hostage, not anymore. So make the decision not to burn it all down, but to build something better, brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. You don't have to know exactly where it leads. You just have to trust that anything built with honesty, courage, and love will always lead somewhere better than fake comfort ever could. Lesson 17, expectations are a cage. From the moment we're born, the world begins whispering expectations into our ears. Be polite, be practical, be realistic. Get the job, get the degree, settle down, stay safe. And somewhere along the way, you start confusing those voices with your own. But let's get one thing clear. You were not born to fulfill someone else's checklist. Living your life to meet the expectations of others is the fastest way to bury your soul. Now, you smile, but it's not real. You achieve, but it doesn't feel like success. You check every box, yet inside you feel more lost than ever. Here's the truth. You can't build a meaningful life while trapped in someone else's blueprint. Your parents, your culture, your friends, your teachers, they may all have opinions about what you should do, but only you know what sets your heart on fire. And if you ignore that, just disappoint yourself, you abandon yourself. It's okay to want different things. It's okay to chase a dream that others don't understand. It's okay to say, this isn't working for me anymore, and walk a new path. Breaking free from expectations doesn't mean disrespect. It means choosing truth over approval, freedom over fear, fulfillment over fitting in. So ask yourself honestly, whose life am I really living? And if the answer isn't mine, then it's time to rewrite the script. Because your life should feel like something you created, not something you inherited. Tear down the cage, set fire to the rule book, reclaim your voice. This is your life, live it your way. Lesson 18. Your pain has power. Pain is part of life. There's no avoiding it. But what most people never realize is this. Your pain can either define you or refine you. It can break you or it can build you. It can become a prison or fuel your transformation. You've been through things, maybe things you've never shared out loud. Maybe you've carried them for years. Disappointment, heartbreak, rejection, trauma, loss. And every time you think you've healed, something triggers the memory again. But here's the shift. Your pain doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It means you've lived, you've risked, you've felt deeply. And if you let it, that pain can be turned into purpose. The most inspiring people aren't the ones who've had it easy. They're the ones who turn their wounds into wisdom. They speak from experience. They show others that survival is possible and that thriving is too. Whatever you've been through, someone out there needs your story. And someone needs to know they're not alone. But you can't help them if you're still ashamed of your own journey. So stop hiding your scars, start honoring them. Not because the pain was fair or deserved, but because it gave you something no classroom ever could: depth, empathy, strength. Every tear taught you something. Every setback sharpened you. Every heartbreak cracked you open just enough to let the light in. Your pain doesn't define your identity, but it can define your impact. You get to choose what it means. You get to turn it into fuel. You get to say, this didn't break me, it built me. Let your pain be your power, and let that power move the world. Lesson 19, starve distraction, feed focus. Your dreams don't die because you're not talented enough. They die because you're too distracted to stay consistent. We live in a world built to steal your attention. Your phone buzzes, your feed scrolls, your day disappears. And then you wonder, why am I not where I want to be? The answer is simple but powerful. What you feed grows. Every time you choose distraction over discipline, you're watering the weeds instead of the roots. You're building someone else's dream instead of your own. Distraction doesn't just delay your goals, it destroys your momentum. 1 minute lost turns into an hour. One skipped session becomes a week. One I'll do it later becomes maybe I never will. But here's the good news. Focus is a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. Start small. Turn off notifications for 1 hour a day. Create a space for deep work. Say no to energy-draining conversations. Replace scrolling with reading. Replace watching with building. Guard your time like it's gold, because it is. And don't just eliminate distractions, replace them with purpose. When you're on a mission, you don't have time for noise. When you're clear on what you want, every no becomes a powerful yes to your future. So here's the shift. Don't try to do everything. Master the few things that truly matter. Because in a distracted world, the most dangerous person is the one who knows how to focus. Be that person. Lesson 20. Life owes you nothing. Earn everything. The world doesn't hand out rewards for potential. It pays in full only for performance. You might be smart, kind, talented, full of dreams. But if you're not doing the work, if you're not showing up, none of it matters. Life doesn't owe you anything. Not success, not recognition, not happiness, not healing. Everything you want must be earned, and it must be earned daily. Too many people walk around waiting to be noticed, waiting for luck, waiting for their turn. But here's the truth. Life doesn't have a queue. You take your place by force. No one's coming to save you. No one's obligated to open a door for you. You build the door, you build the key, you turn it. And it will be hard. There will be days when the world feels unfair, when others with shortcuts get ahead, when you work and don't see results. But the ones who keep going, they are the ones who build legacies. You're not a victim, you're a warrior. You're not entitled to anything, but you're capable of everything. So stop waiting, start building, show up when you're tired, learn when you're lost, adapt when you're stuck. Your dream is not waiting. Your future is not paused. Every second you hesitate, someone else is moving. Let this burn inside you. If you want something from life, take it, but be ready to pay in sweat, sacrifice, and soul, because nothing great is given. Everything great is earned. Final words, you're not done yet. If you've made it this far, something inside you is awake. Something refuses to settle. Something is hungry for more. Not more things, but more life. You've read the lessons. Now comes the real test. Will you live them? Because nothing changes until you do. Motivation fades, inspiration wears off. But habits, action, commitment, they leave a mark. You don't need more time. You need more truth. You don't need more permission. You need more courage. You don't need a perfect plan. You need relentless progress. So take the lessons with you, revisit them, reflect on them, and most of all, act on them. Some days will be easy, others will feel impossible, but every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're not giving up. And when the doubt comes, because it will, remember this: you are not alone, you are not behind, you are not broken, you are becoming. So go out there, live like it matters, speak like your words carry weight, build like the world is watching, and more importantly, like your future self is counting on you. You only get one life. Don't waste it. Live it wide awake, live it out loud, live it fully. And when your story is told, make sure it is worth reading. Maybe you stumbled across this message at a time when life feels overwhelming. It might not be a single thing pulling you down. It could be everything at once. Finances are tight, you're mentally drained, your health isn't where it should be, your relationships feel like they are crumbling. You're just holding it together, barely surviving from one day to the next. And here's the thing, no one may truly know how much you're suffering. Outwardly, you may smile and laugh, but inside, you're hurting silently. Perhaps you've cried yourself to sleep more than once. Maybe you've failed again and again, and you're wondering if it's even worth trying anymore. You keep asking, well, when is it finally going to change? When do I get to breathe? Let me speak to you not just as a motivator, but as someone who has seen darkness and emerged stronger. I've watched people break and then rebuild themselves from scratch. I've seen shattered dreams turn into beautiful realities. So I say this with sincerity. Things will get better, not because the world will suddenly become easier, but because you're going to grow tougher, smarter, and more prepared to face it all. Yes, the tunnel you're in might feel endless, that you might not even see a speck of light yet, but that doesn't mean it's not there. The path forward might be long and painful, but it leads to something better. You just have to keep moving. Don't stop, even if you're crawling, even if you're inching forward in pain. Keep going. You are not done, not even close. There's a powerful story still unfolding within you. There's more fight left in your spirit than you believe. The hard days you think might break you are actually shaping a more resilient, more courageous, more capable version of yourself. Those moments of darkness, they're the forge. You're the metal, and you're becoming unbreakable. And if you're sitting there lost and dreamless, let this be your moment. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need a vision. It's something that sparks a fire in your soul. It could be a tiny goal or a wild ambition. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it's yours. Something that makes waking up feel worthwhile, a reason to push through. Once you've found that dream, you must guard it like it's sacred. Don't let distractions or doubts steal it away. Take action. Fail and learn. Rise and repeat. Master your craft. Stay hungry for growth, even when applause is absent. You know, your passion should be so fierce that it fuels you even in silence. Forget obsessing over the world's problems or what others think. Focus inward. The only real battle is with yourself. And believe me, you have no clue how powerful you really are. You think you're weak? You're not. You think you're behind everyone else? You're actually warming up. You think your time is past. It's just beginning. You feel invisible? That's only because you're not finished rising. Understand this, you are never just an ordinary person. You were born with fire in your veins. You are not simply existing. You are preparing to erupt into something magnificent. When that moment comes when the world finally sees what you've been becoming in the dark, they'll ask, who is this person? And you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because you made it through hell and kept walking. You'll tell them, I came from the chaos. I was molded by pain. I hit rock bottom, and that became the foundation I built my life on. So don't just sit there in your sorrow. Rise, lift your head, wipe your tears, straighten your back. Take that first step, however shaky it might feel, because waiting ahead of you is a version of your life that's stronger, brighter, and more fulfilling than anything behind you. Your story isn't over. In fact, the best part is just beginning. Your greatness is calling. Your destiny is waiting. So stop hesitating. Go after it with everything you have. Thank you for taking the time to let these words into your heart. Remember, action today changes everything. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for perfect. Just start. You were made for more. Stay strong, keep going, and I'll see you on the other side.